some of the obstacles of settling in a new country for your mother?
Well, there were many obstacles. First of all, my mother did not speak the language. So there was the language barriers. She did not speak any English or read it or understand it. She also did not have any family here or any friends. Besides her employer's sister, she really didn't know anyone here. So she was starting a new life in a new country with no one, right? No support system at all. And she also never really went to school at all in terms of going to school back in Greece. So she wasn't even able to write like in Greek or read Greek. So it was even difficult for her to, back then they wrote letters. So she couldn't even really write her own letter to send back to her family. And, it was a difficult life not having, your support system and a community around you, and just trying to, survive on your own and find work and meet people. Those were like a lot of the challenges that she encountered, and the jobs that she did find were difficult. Like they were very intense, physical, manual labor types of jobs. So that was also, I think, a difficulty, right? Like being exhausted and also working several jobs, like not just working one job and then coming home to relax. It was like going from one job that she had in the daytime to another job that she worked all, in the evenings and through the night.
Would you say that making money was a big obstacle by settling in a new country and having to find somewhere to live and things like that, money-wise?
Well, I mean, there were opportunities to get to be able to make money. So she did make money. Like she had enough money to find a place. And then when she got to know people, then there were other Greek families that were maybe renting like a room in their house, and so then she was able to use the money that she was making to rent something. So she was able to find something to have a roof over her head. So yeah, that I wouldn't say was too much of a barrier. The original person that helped her to get to Canada, her employer's sister, she only really helped her out for the first few months, and then she was pretty much on her own. But by that time, she had kind of, established a sense of, what she needed to do, and she wasn't out on the streets. That the woman who brought her here was helping her in sort of like finding a place to stay and getting her organized and settled.
Yeah. So she eventually had enough money to buy her own house, right?
Well, that didn't come until many years later, but yes.
Yeah. From working and staying with people and renting.
Yes, from working. Then she eventually met my father and they got married, and they were still renting for the first few years. So it took them quite a few years of working until they were able to finally buy their own home. And when they did that, they still didn't buy it on their own. They went together with other people and they bought it kind of like together. Right? They pooled their money together, like 2 or 3 people, and they bought a house. And then eventually they started like one would, buy out the other. Right?
Yeah. Was there anything that was keeping them from leaving Greece?
Keeping them from leaving Greece? You mean before they came here?
Yeah. Before they came to Canada.
Well, I would say that the bonds that they had with their family and the bonds that you always have with the place that you're born was something that would always, be very, very difficult, right?
Yeah.
Make it very, very difficult. So I think, I think that was one of the things that made it the hardest, I guess, to leave was, leaving their families and friends behind.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine, that young leaving your country you were born in, because seems like a tough thing. Do you think that they had any regrets coming to Canada at all? Like, did she live with any regret coming to Canada, do you think?
No, it didn't seem that way to me. I think it was the opposite. I think she was always happy that she came here, and she was very grateful for the life that she was able to make here. And she always told us that, this is my country now. This is what I consider to be my country. I'm a Canadian citizen now. I would never really, she just grew to be so accustomed to life here that she never had a desire to go back. In fact, both my parents were here for a very, very long time. I would say, maybe close to, I would say 10 years before they even went back to visit. My father probably even 20 years went by before he even went back to visit. So they were very much appreciative and very grateful for the life that they had here. And I never saw any regret in their, in the way that they talked about their journey here and their life here.
Yeah. What would you say that they were leaving behind in Greece? Did I already ask you that one?
Well, it's sort of the same thing as when you said, like what would they be missing, right? They'd be missing their family. That's really what they had, because they didn't have any material possessions or anything like that. Remember, they were in poverty. So whatever they were leaving behind was just, the bonds, right? The bonds that they had with their family, with their friends, and just with their country in general, right?
Yeah. In your mind, what influence did she have on you in Canada? What role did she play in you going to university and getting a job and everything? Did she like influence you in any way?
100%. I think my mother's experiences were what motivated us and created in us that that desire, I guess, to make a better life for us as well, and to honor what sacrifices my parents had made by leaving their life, even though they didn't have a lot, right? They still left their home, their country, right? To come here, and always told us that, we were doing it more for you, even though we didn't have children at the time, that in the future, when we did have children, that you would have a better life. So everything we sort of were doing, and what we were, as we were growing up, everything that was kind of in our mindset was, we want to honor that. We want to make sure that we are taking advantage of the opportunities that we have, that our parents have given us by being in this country. So for sure, I would say it was a huge, huge influence in my life, and motivating me to, to always strive to be the best that I could.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. The last question, it's why Canada? Why do you think her or her family chose Canada instead of any other country? Like, yeah, why Canada?
That's a good question. I think most immigrants at the time were either going to Australia or Canada or the United States. And I think for my parents, in particular, my mother, I think it was just that opportunity that she had that presented itself when her employer's sister, right, presented her with that opportunity, and it just happened to be Canada. I don't think, my mother didn't know a lot about life outside of Greece at the time. So it was just based on what, she heard from people she knew. And people that she knew were telling her about Canada. And it sounded like a wonderful place. And she really wanted to experience that, Yeah.
So her employer sister kind of influenced her to come to Canada and was telling her, all these good things about it. And that is kind of what got her here.
Exactly.
Did her come?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Theodora. That was a very interesting and very upbeat interview. It was very nice talking to you today, and thank you.
Thank you, Alex. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.